It's Monday of the Democratic National Convention week. And in Chicago, local businesses are boarded up. Activists are handing out abortion medication, and protesters are chanting, "Welcome to Hell Week," as they run around dressed as little abortion pills. Those are two different groups of protesters. Yes, the Democratic National Convention is officially underway. Tonight, President Joe Biden takes to the stage for his, I don't know, this is like his address before they put him on Mount Rushmore. Amy, Nancy Pelosi says he should go up there, should be the fifth. She's not arguing they should take Teddy Roosevelt down, but they should add Joe Biden. Meanwhile, he and she are not on speaking terms, according to the reporting. Senator Amy Klobuchar assures us that there will be tears of joy. Joy. There'll be crying. There'll be tears of joy shed for Joe Biden and hugs all around, less than a month after he was unceremoniously ousted in what even Maureen Dowd of the New York Times called a coup. But activists are not waiting for anyone to take to the stage to show their anger. They're already on the streets. It's actually quite interesting because you've got the groups of people who really, really, really don't like Israel, and in many cases, Jews, out there protesting. And they're like working with the mayor. We'll spew all of our hatred in an organized way with the city microphones and stages. And then you've got this other group that's like, F them. We want to be punched in the face by cops so we can go out and show everybody. People need to get hurt in order for us to make a difference. So it's starting well. There are these groups on the streets in the faces of Chicago cops saying, if you pigs, nice, warning DNC leaders, either go home. If you don't go home, we're going to bring the war home. Watch.
Big argument, your nose broken, pig. You lose a fight, you stupid fucking pig. Your face looks fucked up, pig. Fuck you, pig. You look fucked up, pig. I hate you. God, you are so fucking pathetic. Get a job.
And I hope you have nightmares about the people that Chicago police killed.
You're a fucking loser, pig. You're a fucking loser. And I know you're getting Hell Week. Welcome to 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 Hell Week.
Okay, just for the listening audience, that guy getting up in the face of this very calm, restrained cop was obviously a man wearing a keffiyeh, covering his head, with breasts, speaking in his man voice, calling the cop a loser and telling the cop to get a job. Okay. Sweetheart, you might need a moment. You might need some time by yourself to do some life reflection and come to grips with where things landed for you. Those moments we just showed you courtesy of Julio Rosas at the Blaze and Tim Pool's team on the scene as well. Axios is reporting Democratic lawmakers were warned not to book hotel rooms in their own names and not to confront the protesters. Apparently the protesters have been calling the hotels looking for various Democratic lawmakers. So that's nice. I'm sure they're feeling great because unlike, the president, the vice president, they don't travel around with teams of security, the lowly congressmen and women. We took a deeper dive into one of the groups expected at the convention. Not sure if the man with the boobs calling the cop the loser and to get a job is part, trying to figure out which faction of protesters he's with. There's one that's really nasty and then there's one that's just medium nasty. In any event, we took a deeper dive into one of the groups expected at the convention, and they questioned in one of their online pamphlets, why do people in the U.S. have the right to prioritize their own safety? This group shared this scene online today from nearby the DNC. It shows young boys being given bloody shoes by an activist and then throwing them at pictures of Vice President Harris, President Biden, Donald Trump, and others. And while the threatening chants are disgusting, so are scenes of marches like this. Young women right down the road dressed up as abortion pills. I'm sorry. This is so absurd. Oh my God. They're wearing little pills that read Mephisto. You can't make it up. They're big white circles for the listening audience. They look like eggs. And their chant is F the courts, F the state. You can't make us procreate. I have a feeling it's not going to be an issue for you ladies. I think you're good. The abstinence program has worked for some over the years. Good luck with that. So is all of this going to turn off swing state voters, most of whom are pretty normal? Or is it all just baked in the cake now for Democrats? I mean, there's no one I want to talk more to about the abortion pill costumes than the guys from RealClearPolitics. That when I listen to their show, I think this is something they need to weigh in on. Their website's a must-read destination, and I love their show. They're on SiriusXM, a neighbor to yours truly as well. Tom Bevan is the co-founder and president of RCP. Carl Cannon is Washington bureau chief, and Andrew Walworth is chief content officer. So who I really wanted to talk to was Andrew, because I know Andrew is going to have strong thoughts. Where is your Mephisto costume, Andrew?
Well, I tell you, we arrived last night and we're right off Michigan Avenue, and we did see a bunch of protesters and the police. I will tell you, the police presence outnumbered the protesters about 3-1 in this one demonstration, and the demonstration seemed fairly contained. But I do think what's interesting about these two competing protest narratives is the sort of Planned Parenthood and the there's going to be an inflatable IUD that's 18 feet tall, apparently. That's all actually in support of Kamala Harris. But in contrast, as you pointed out, the anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian protests are really sort of against her. So sort of competing narratives. I mean, there are two sort of issues that seem to have galvanized the protests here. One is pro what Kamala Harris is doing and what she represents, anti-Trump, and the other one is anti-Kamala Harris and obviously anti-Trump as well.
I mean, I don't know.
It'll make for an interesting week.
Who is that supposed to appeal to? An 18-foot IUD only makes women around the world shudder. No one wants to even think about that. Meanwhile, down the road, this one's for you, Tom Bevan. Down the road at the DNC, they're giving away free abortion pills, and free vasectomies, my friend. So don't think all the fun is for the ladies, because if you men had something you forgot to take care of, you can put an end to it right down the street from where Kamala Harris accepts the nomination on the stage Thursday night.
Yeah, we're actually going to send somebody down there to talk to one of these people that's standing in line to get a vasectomy and just to understand exactly what's going on. They said there's a wait list for this.
Is it going to be Phil? Please let it be Phil.
No, Phil's going to be, I think, over at the United Center, but we're going to try and track down it's fascinating, right? Wouldn't you want to know and hear from one of these people who's standing in line to get a vasectomy at the Democratic National Convention?
Yes.
Sponsored, by the way, in conjunction with the Wiener Circle. I mean, you really can't even make this stuff up.
No. What? Seriously?
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's a hot dog place in Chicago.
Chicago's known for its hot dogs.
You can only get the vasectomy on Monday, apparently. That's the only day they're offering. But you can get the morning after pill and the other stuff all throughout the convention. So if you're planning on coming down for your vasectomy, you've got to come today.
That's all very consistent with the Democrats' abortion plan in general. All the time. All the time is fine. Yeah, there's no limits whatsoever. Please get the abortion on demand. You can do it street side. You can do it in the privacy of your home. The one thing you can't do is pray outside of an abortion clinic, but you can get the actual abortion. It's kind of crazy, honestly. Like when I was younger, and I've said this on the show, I was liberal. I was Democrat. I was a Democrat, and I was raised in a Democrat household. And I look around at this party and these open celebrations of like, whether you're pro-abortion or not pro-abortion, there's no question you're taking a life. The promise of a life to be most charitable to the pro-choice side. How do you celebrate that in the street? How do you yay, I'm going to dress up as the little thing that will kill the baby. So fun. Yay, I kill babies. Here I am. That's insane to me, Carl. I look at this party and I think, isn't the name of the game at this point about getting those moderates in the 7 swing states?
Well, Bill Clinton certainly thought so when he spoke here in 1996 while running for election, and he emphasized to the country, to the delegates, the press, that he thought abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. That was the term of art. by the time Hillary Clinton ran for president against Barack Obama in the primaries, and if you said that, you'd be booed. So the Democratic Party has changed a little bit, and I think it's tied up in the environmental movement. This extreme idea that the planet is being threatened by global warming, and there's this whole movement not to have children at all, and it's sort of caught up. It's taken on a whole different cast and become more radicalized. And you, Tom, you guys mentioned the vasectomy thing. I mean, it's like a bookmobile that gives. Remember those bookmobiles, Megyn, when we were kids? They go around to neighborhoods and you check out library books. Sure. Now you can go get a vasectomy at a bookmobile here in Chicago. And I guess my main concern, if I was, what if a car like ran into the bookmobile while you were having the vasectomy? That wouldn't be good.
No. Courtesy of Kamala Harris. Literally a ball buster. I'm concerned because if I'm the Democrat Party, I'm thinking, yes, I want to activate my base, but they seem pretty activated just by her elevation, just by the fact that she's replaced the guy who was losing. So now you've got all of this stuff that we've been discussing. And then less known, but also kind of interesting, Tom, is they're posting all over the internet their like diversity group sessions that are going on all day over there. There's the Native American Caucus, the LGBTQ Caucus, the Black Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, the Climate Crisis Council, so on. So that's sort of white dudes for Kamala and white chicks for Kamala. Like that was not pretend. They remain a segregated party. The blacks don't congregate with the whites, don't congregate with the Hispanics, etc. And they actually, this just was tweeted out before we got to air, they opened, at least on paper, with a land acknowledgement. A land acknowledgement, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's where you stand up and you like pay homage to the Native Americans and you express your apologies for stealing their land. I'll read you what this one sounds like. The DNC wishes to acknowledge that we gathered together to state our values on lands that have been stewarded through many centuries by the ancestors and descendants of tribal nations who have been here since time immemorial. We honor the communities native to this continent and recognize that our country was built on indigenous homelands. We also recognize and honor the traditional homelands of the Anishinaabe, also known as the Council of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations. Tom, anyone sitting in Wisconsin is going to be like, what? In these crazy times, there is peace of mind and security. Security for our country, for our leaders, and for our families. But think about this. Are you really financially secure if all of your eggs are in one financial basket? Gold and silver can be an excellent way to diversify your savings as a hedge against inflation. They're a physical asset that is in high demand globally. And through Birch Gold Group, you can own physical gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. Yes, you can diversify an old IRA or 401k for no money out of pocket into an IRA in gold and silver. Text MK to 989898 and receive a free no-obligation info kit and learn the role precious metals could play in your overall saving strategy. Again, text MK to 989898. Birch Gold has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers. Text MK to 989898. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.